Hi, Year 6. Welcome to your English lesson. It's the last day of the week. I hope you're all ready for coming back to school. I hope you're all really excited. I'm really excited. I know Mr. Simmons is really excited, and so is Miss Gundry and Miss Thomason. We cannot wait to see you all and get back to a bit more of a normal routine. But for now, let me share my screen and we can get started with today's lesson. Okay, so today is Friday, the 5th of March, 2021, and our learning objective today is to persuade. So by now, we should all be very familiar with what the word persuade means. And now, if you're a little bit stuck, don't worry, we'll go through that later. So let's have a go at our starter first. Over the last few weeks, we've been looking at persuasive features of a brochure. So how many persuasive features can you remember? So what I'd like you to do is try to challenge yourself and not look at your checklists that you made. But please pause the screen and try to remember as many features as you can. Okay, brilliant. So how did it go? Here are some that I could remember. So we've got rhetorical questions, imperative verbs, so that's like verbs that sound like they're bossing you around and they're telling you what to do, like go, come, ride. Second person, using pronouns you and your. Descriptive language to capture the reader's attention and to get them to imagine how it must feel to go to your theme parks. And we've got superlatives. Now, some things that you might have written were maybe the subjunctive form, for example, and some more maybe. But let's move on. So we were talking about the word persuade. Our learning objective is to persuade. So let's have a look. Let's just have a recap of what persuade means. It means to convince someone to do something. Okay, you're setting an argument out to convince someone to do something. Okay, and that's what you were doing in your brochures. So today you're going to be hearing the word invention and the word pitch. So an invention is something that has never been made before. So we've got a picture of a light bulb. Before light bulbs were invented, people used to use candles and flames to light a room. And then the light bulb was invented, and this was used to replace flames and candles. Then we have pitch. So a speech that attempts to persuade someone. So from these three key vocabulary words that we have today, can you maybe pause the screen and have a think about what your main task today is going to be? Okay, keep that in mind, and we will go through something later on just to see if you got that right. So today we're going to be inventing a product, and you're going to share a persuasive speech so that others will buy your product. Okay, well, in fact, it's not just somebody who's going to buy your product. We'll come on to that later, actually. Okay, so let's get started with some inventive ideas first. So we've got a few objects here. We've got a piece of rope, some springs, we've got some tin cans, wooden spoons, some wheels, and a cardboard box. Pause the screen. What can you create from the following items? So put your invention hats on. Make sure you're ready to think up some ideas. Maybe draw something from the using the items that I've got here. Try and see what you can create from the following items. Okay, I hope you were really, really creative and you tried to think outside the box using these items. And I hope that warmed your brain up for making some inventions later on. So what's the problem? Here is the problem. Before I mentioned you're going to have to make an object for somebody to buy, but in fact, here is the brief. Okay, Stanley wants to escape from Camp Green Lake without getting caught. He needs your help by creating an invention to get him out. You can use any materials in your invention. Let me change that, in your invention. Oh, sorry. You can use any materials to make your imaginary invention. And he wants to choose the best invention, which will ensure that he doesn't get caught. Okay, he wants the best. So remember, when you're pitching ideas, you're going to be using superlatives. Good, well done. So you will need to persuade Stanley to choose your invention, and that will be done by creating a pitch. Just a reminder, a pitch is a speech that attempts to persuade someone. So you're going to try and persuade Stanley to pick your invention to help him escape. Let's have a think about what your invention will need when we think about what the brief is. So he wants to escape. Have a think. What does the invention need to have? So pause the screen and have a think. Good. So some ideas you may have thought of. It needs to be quick because he needs to escape, right? He can't be slow, he has to be quick. He doesn't want to get caught, so it has to be as quiet as possible. He will also need to have where's my notes? There we go. He'll also need to, because he's in Camp Green Lake, there's not a lot of shelter, and there's not really anything in like the near distance where he can hide. It's going to need to be weatherproof. Well, I don't know if you thought of that. And finally, if he's escaping, he's going to need to be as safe as possible, okay, when he is escaping. So these are just a few things that should help you to think of some ideas for what you want your product to be, what you want your escape tool to be, okay? So let's have a look at this. You're going to be given a sheet and it's going to have a grid on it where you'll have 3 different boxes to fill out. Okay, so first you'll have a box which says initial ideas. So you're going to need to write down some initial ideas. Now, let me have a go. So I think a good way for Stanley to escape would be to maybe fly out. So if I had a think, maybe a flying helmet. And I'd want it to be, I want it to have drone propellers. And I want it to also have a double buckle, which unlocks with fingerprint ID. So ID identification, okay? So these are just some initial ideas I have. It doesn't have to be very detailed, but we're looking for some initial ideas written in your first box. Then you'll be asked to draw and annotate your own invention. So it might be a bit difficult to draw on Word. So I suggest to you to draw on a piece of paper, and then in the box next to the image, you will see where it should be. You can insert an image there of a sheet of paper which you've drawn on and annotated. So let me show you my drawing, which I made earlier. Here is my lovely annotation of my, this is the lovely drawing of my flying helmet. So as you can see, I've got the propeller here. So I'm going to label that drone propeller. And in fact, I'm going to add that these are ultra quiet. And I'm also going to, I've coloured it in blue. And the reason why is because I would suggest to Stanley to go at night time, and if it's a dark blue colour, it will help him camouflage. You might choose yellow, maybe to camouflage in the sand. I've got a battery here, and I'm going to explain to Stanley when I write my pitch that it's a long-lasting battery. And finally, I've got the double buckle. So double buckle for extra safety, and fingerprint ID. So I've just put that there for me to refer back to when I am writing my speech. Okay, so those are just a few notes there for me. So when you're writing your pitch, your speech, your persuasive speech, you're going to need to write a few bullet points. And this will be on the same assignment document that you'll have for today's lesson. And it will be the third box in the table that you'll have. So here are just a few ideas that I've written. So why should Stanley choose my invention? And I'm going to refer back to my features just to help me, okay? Oh, I'd actually want to add this, because you can't see it on my drawing, extra padding, and so it's comfy for comfort. Okay, so those are my initial ideas. Oh, it keeps changing color. Okay, so here's my first point that I've made, that he will. So it says, fly out of Camp Green Lake with the ultra silent drone propeller. So looking back at our features for a persuasive piece of writing, you can see I've used my, my descriptive language, ultra silent, drone propeller, no one will hear you. What happens if the battery runs out? So there, I've used my rhetorical question, okay? And each point I'm making is about a different feature on my product, okay? So I've got, what happens if the battery runs out? Longest battery life you can get your hands on to ensure you make it out far away from the camp. Now, as you can see, this is not, these sentences are not, they're not full sentences. I've started off longest battery life. That doesn't technically make sense, but all it is that you have to write down are some notes, okay? Because your main task, part of your main task is to perform your pitch. So these are just bullet points to help me to remember what I'm saying, okay? So longest battery life you can get your hands on to ensure you make it out far away from the camp. Extremely soft padding, so that's going back to my ideas. What have I got to write about? Extremely soft padding inside the helmet for extra comfort on your escape, okay? And to keep you the safest you can be, there's some superlatives there. Safest, the sky helmet. Oh, and in fact, in your initial ideas, include the name of your product. So let me, in fact, put that here. I've got sky helmet. So those are my ideas there. So to keep you the safest you can be, the sky helmet comes with a double buckle, which only unlocks with your fingerprint identification. All right, so words like only would make it seem extra special. And there again, I'm using my second person to direct Stanley, to directly speak to Stanley. If I were you, there's my subjunctive form. I'd escape at nighttime so that the dark blue helmet keeps you camouflaged. Okay, so here's just a few points. We're not looking for tons and tons of writing. maybe about 5 to 6 bullet points to talk about each different feature, and it has to be delivered in a persuasive way. So remember, we're using our checklist here. Feel free to go to your checklist that you have written already, or if you'd like to refer back to this video here, then feel free to do so. But your task is to do just what I did there, and then finally you will perform your pitch to somebody at home, and they can see how persuasive your pitch is. So if I read this out one last time: fly out of Camp Green Lake with the ultra silent drone propeller. No one will hear you. What happens if your battery runs out? Longest battery life. So see, I wouldn't say longest battery life. That's just there to prompt my thoughts. Well, this sky helmet has the longest battery life that you can get your hands on to ensure you make it out far away from the camp. Extremely soft padding is inside the helmet for extra comfort on your escape. And to keep you the safest you can be, the sky helmet comes with a double buckle, which only unlocks with your fingerprint identification. If I were you, I'd escape at nighttime so that the dark blue helmet keeps you camouflaged. Okay, so there are a few words I might have added in, maybe taken out while I was reading that and performing that to you. But that's okay to do that. That's what the point of these bullet point style sentences are for. Okay, they're just to prompt your thoughts and to allow for that flexibility, okay, when you perform it. Anyway, can you please now head on over to Teams, and I'd love to see all your amazing inventions. Please, can you complete the table for your assignment today? That's on Teams. And you will also, again, remember, you'll need to pitch your ideas to somebody at home as if they are Stanley. And maybe at the end of your document on your assignment, maybe just write a couple of notes. How persuasive was your pitch? Okay, maybe ask for some advice from the person you performed it to. How persuasive did they think your pitch was? Okay, so please head on over to Teams now, and that is the end of your lesson. I will see you next week. Goodbye.